This story isn't just a vacation gone wrong. It's what happens when someone takes no as a reason to kill. It happened to my mom and her best friend, and I was supposed to be there. My name is Shannon. Back in 2011, I was 15, living in Northern Ireland. That summer, I had fallen in love with a guy online. His name was Recep Setin. He was Turkish, tall, charismatic, romantic. At least that's what I thought. He invited me to visit him in Turkey. My mom, Marion, was super protective. She didn't trust guys like that, but I begged her to come with me. She agreed on one condition. Her best friend Kathy would come too. So it would be the three of us. A mother, a daughter, and a monster waiting in disguise. We arrived in Kusadasi in August. Recep was waiting, smiling, kind. He brought flowers for my mom, told her she was like a second mother to him. For a few days, it felt perfect. Turquoise beaches, Turkish tea, laughter under the sun. Then, he proposed. Right there, in front of my mom and Kathy. He said he wanted to marry me and bring me to live in Turkey. I was stunned. I looked at my mom. She said no. Firm, clear, no. That's when everything changed. Recep got quiet, cold. He barely looked at me after that. He started texting all night, disappearing for hours. Something in his eyes changed. Then he invited my mom and Kathy to visit his father in Izmir. He said he wanted to show them he came from a good family. They agreed. I stayed behind. I never saw them again. They were found 2 days later in a forest near Izmir. Beaten, stabbed, left to die. My mom had defensive wounds. She fought hard, but she didn't stand a chance. Kathy died beside her. 2 women who only wanted to protect me. Police arrested Recep within hours. He confessed. He said my mom humiliated him. She ruined his dreams. So he taught her a lesson. He brought a knife, lured them out, and ended their lives like they were nothing. He tried to fake mental illness. He told the court he was 17 when he was really 22. He even laughed during the trial. But he got life, and that still doesn't feel like enough. Every summer, I remember their laughter in Turkey, how alive they looked under the sun, how safe I felt, until I wasn't. I replay the moment my mom said no, and I wonder, if I had said yes instead, would I be the one buried in that forest? When I was a kid, my step-grandparents lived in a small mountain town in Oregon. Their house sat at the very end of a dead-end street. I still remember the wooden guardrail painted white with orange stripes. Only about 5 houses were on that street, but one of them stood out. It was directly across from my grandparents' place. It was older, darker. It had this strange energy, like it didn't belong there. I didn't know how to explain it back then, but it made me feel uneasy. My mom and stepdad would sometimes drop me, my sister, and my stepbrother off to stay with our grandparents. I was the youngest, about 5 years younger than the other 2. We always had a great time, hiking, picking berries, barbecues. It was peaceful, happy, until Raquel showed up. She came from that house across the street. We had never seen anyone enter or leave it before. It was late one evening, almost dusk, when we heard the metal gate of our yard creak. She walked in like she belonged, said her name was Raquel. Glasses, tomboyish, older than us. She asked if she could play basketball with us. We said sure. Nothing seemed off about her at first. For about a year, she was just Raquel. Then, one night, everything changed. We were up late, around 1 a.m., playing Nintendo 64. The room was dark except for the glow of the paused screen. Suddenly, we heard the chain link gate outside rattling. I peeked, just barely above the windowsill. It was Raquel. She was wearing red plaid pajamas, a black hoodie, a backpack, no shoes. It had rained earlier, so everything was soaked. She didn't look around. She just climbed the fence, walked slowly down the street, hopped the guardrail, and disappeared into the forest. No flashlight, no hesitation. I stayed awake until 3:30, waiting to hear her come back. She didn't. The next morning, my grandparents told me to take out the trash before we headed to the lake. I looked across the street, and there she was, sitting on her porch, a full glass of red liquid in front of her. Her hood was up, shoulders raised, eyes locked on me. I waved. She didn't move. No expression, just stared. Later, we heard from a local boy named Cage. He had hung out at Raquel's house with some friends. He told my sister he'd never go back, said she locked him in the basement alone, turned off all the lights, and laughed while he screamed for help. She had gone upstairs to get the others and instead locked the door. He didn't think it was funny. Months passed. We visited again. Raquel seemed normal. She invited us to a clubhouse she built behind her house. We went. I stepped out for a minute to pee. That's when I saw her shove a stick into the door lock and unplug the power cord. My siblings were trapped inside, yelling. She turned to me, walked slowly, eyes wide, said, "If you open that clubhouse, I will hurt you." I ran, pulled out the stick, freed my siblings. My sister snapped, grabbed Raquel by the shirt, shoved her to the ground. But Raquel, she smiled. A twisted, proud smile, like she enjoyed it. We told our grandparents. They went to speak with her parents. Her mother said Raquel had changed recently. She'd stayed up all night in the basement. They found out she had been using a Ouija board. She said her daughter would throw up in the middle of the night, violently. As we left their porch, I glanced at the basement window. I swear I saw Raquel's face watching us from inside, but it didn't look like her. Her eyes, they looked like a cat's. Yellow, wide, still. We never went back. A few years later, my mom and stepdad divorced. Oregon became a distant memory. Until 15 years later, I told this exact story to my fiance's family while we were staying at a cabin. Right after I finished, my phone rang. Unknown number, Oregon area code. I didn't want to answer. My fiance's mom dared me to. I picked up, nothing but a high-pitched buzzing. 3 seconds, then silence. Call ended. We sat there in total silence. No one said a word. I still think about Raquel, about that night, about those eyes. I hope I never see Oregon again.